Greetings, fellow quitters, and welcome back to the CMDQ podcast. We're your hosts. I'm Maari Casey.
And I'm John Pelfrey.
Today, we're going to be tackling something nuanced, sensitive, and potentially decisive. How should we use emojis at work? In a world where language is changing quickly, what do people of certain generations need to know about using emojis in a way that is neither cringy, to use that word from my children, incorrect, nor passive aggressive? Here to help us navigate these choppy waters is Uncompany's own Lauren Miller, talented freelance animation designer and certified Gen Zer. So Lauren, warm-up question. Recent data shows that marketing emails with emojis and their subject lines perform 56% better. How does that make you feel when you see that in your emails?
That's weird. I was shocked to hear that. I have an in the middle of the road answer. Like one emoji, great. When there's 17 emojis in there, I'm like, that's too much. Then I feel like it's too new age. I'm like, don't be sending my your friend. Don't send me 17 emojis.
It's like trying too hard, right? It's like the equivalent of when I try to use all the slang words at the same time, my kids are just like, whoa, that's not authentic for you.
I think that's what it is. It's about the authenticity. If it's not relevant, I'm like, what are we doing here?
Yeah. What about if it's in the subject line? And like an emoji in a subject line, how does that make you feel?
That's what actually I was thinking of. I'm like, one emoji in the subject line is cool. But then sometimes it will be bracketed by like 3 emojis on either side. Then that's a lot.
Yeah. Yeah.
Are you guys pro or anti marketing emoji?
I'm kind of afraid to answer.
I sort of feel like on the marketing side, my first question is always, who is the audience? Who are opening these subject line emails with emojis? That would be a really interesting one to find out. Where does the demographic sit? Is it older people? Is it younger people? What are we trying to sell here? What industry is this in? I think all of that has something to say about it, because if it's a business email with emojis in the subject line, even if it's a marketing email, like a B2B email with an emoji, I mean, it better have something to do with either their brand or my brand. Otherwise, I'm going to ignore it probably. But if somebody's trying to sell me like a pair of shoes or a new t-shirt or something, and there's an emoji in it, I wouldn't be surprised. I'm still not clicking on it though, because I'm a cynical person who doesn't open marketing emails.
That's actually a great point. I didn't even think about that, because most of the ones that I receive with the emojis are either fashion brands or kind of trendier things, which I feel like probably is younger demographic leaning.
Yeah.
Yeah. Although if you're there's a software company called Jetpack that works with WordPress plugins and stuff like that. So I feel like if they put a little jet in their subject line, I'd be okay with that. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But if it's just a random bunch of stuff, then no. But I don't know. Again, I'm probably the most cynical person in the world when it comes to marketing emails. So
I feel like it's the one thing that gets me is when I feel like they're trying to convince me something. It's like, don't you want to be successful? Rocket ship emoji. And it's like, why are you putting that kind of pressure on me with your, you're trying to push me to a direction or something like that? It's like, don't you want to be healthy by 2026? Running girl emoji. And I'm like, that's it's like overly salesy. I think it's like the equivalent of putting a bunch of flashy stickers on a car that's on sale now. And so that's what I feel like a little turned off on them, when it's a little bit, you're pushing it too hard with the emojis.
So it's like the guy outside of the car dealership in this thing.
It is.
Wants you to stop, and he's flapping his arms around and moving up and down, and you feel like he's trying to get you to come into the car dealership to buy a used car.
It's like hammering a point too hard. I get it. I do want to get in shape by 2026, but I don't need you to poke me one more time about it with your running girl emoji or your yoga emoji, or I'm not even sure if there's a yoga emoji. But
yeah, I agree. Emojis are everywhere. I guess it's just a part of our language too. And that's another thing, sort of to think about. Emojis have nearly become a separate sort of hieroglyphic part of the language, in the same way that we have, letters and numbers and other symbols, plus, minus, the at symbol, any of those sort of things. Emojis do feel like they've become a part of that conversation a little bit. Do you think the meaning of the characters or the little, symbols evolves over time?
I would say absolutely. I think even in the past 6 months, probably things have changed. But since the dawn of emojis, which I don't even know when that was, I'm sure it's changed so much. I feel like it's constantly evolving, especially in younger groups where the lingo is constantly kind of turning over. Mm-hmm. I feel like some of that bleeds over into long-term trend, but especially in that kind of group, I feel like it really is constantly evolving.
So every group, the emoji probably means something different too, right? And then that changes over time. Yeah. Yeah, it's
I
interesting.
think depending on how widespread it is, like maybe it starts out that young people think thumbs up is passive aggressive, but then it kind of like cascades out to the other groups depending on how widespread it is.
Yeah. Yeah. And so that is the most common emoji that I use. Should I not use the thumbs up? Is that a bad thing?
I
to me,
use
it
the
means
thumbs
like,
up all the time.
Yeah.
No,
Okay.
What about this? Okay. The okay emoji. That's what I'm just like, ooh, they're mad.
I'm out on okay, personally.
Yeah,
I'm pro
yeah.
thumbs up, although some people my age will be like, it is passive aggressive. But I'm
Oh,
like, I think it is just like, nice, thumbs up.
Yeah.
Can we not just have like a standard set of maybe like 10 that we can all agree on? I think that's where I'm at.
These are
Right?
safe emoji language.
Yeah. The safe emojis, and then the others can evolve. It's sort of like that. So you said you didn't know necessarily how long they've been around or where they came from, and I can actually tell you because I remember it. Because it was part of my like young adult life. Originally, they were emoticons, and it was just symbols that you could type out on your keyboard. And I really think I started using it mostly with like AOL Instant Messenger and all of the like all of those like messaging services around like Y2K and into like 2003, 4, 5, something like that. People started to do things, like colon dash end parentheses, and that was a smiley face. And so then that became like, oh, that's a smiley face. And then if you did a semicolon dash smiley face, then that was a wink. And everything kind of started with like, what kind of sort of pictures can I make as I type stuff out? And then somewhere, I guess around the time of the smartphone, we were able to put images into text messages, and that sort of started to change stuff a little bit. But yeah, it was originally like you had to be able to type it out on your keyboard. And I remember using them early on in my career, like little things like that, sending emails to people that were obviously not the business emails, but I remember using them a little bit. And I would get these responses back from like my boss or my boss's boss, like, what does that mean?
That's so funny.
Yeah, what is semicolon dash?
What is shruggy? We're the shruggy one, or we all had a friend who knew how to do like the shruggy person.
Yeah,
with like all the dashes and stuff. I could never get that advanced.
Yeah, and like the winky emoticon really just mean like this. It meant like this is a joke, wink, wink. It's not real. I'm just kidding. And everybody sort of knew that it meant I'm just kidding. But yeah, I guess this has been going on since my early career.
That's so funny. It's strange too, because now it's kind of circled all the way back around where it's like kind of quirky and retro to use the emoticons now. Like, if you're like making your way away from the crowd, like you'll use the shrug or like the ones with the, what's called? The like greater than, less than as the eyes.
Oh, yeah.
That's like the carrots. Yeah.
Well, I think it's interesting too, because my kids obviously use emojis because that's what they do. They're like, call it like strings, like rows and rows of emojis. But then they also, and this is outside of emoji conversation, but they also have shortened down messaging to where it's just like letters. Like I will literally get a text from my daughter that's like, hey, ABDFLCK. And I'm like, did you just fall on your keyboard? What happened? She's like, no, I just said like, hey, I'll be down pretty soon. And she just took the first letter of every single word, expecting that I would know what the heck that meant. And I've seen that happen so many times. I thought it was just her. All of her friends do it. Like for the common phrases where it's like, see you later. We do see you later. Now it's like they've even shortened to like CYL. And I'm like, oh my gosh. So I can't talk to anybody at this point.
Yeah. So like in Tata for now, like that was an early one. That was instant messenger, like sort of language. Like there were a few of those.
Now it's like a whole sentence. Now it's like they're shortening a whole sentence. I feel like the interesting thing with emojis is like, they just like anything else, like it's trending. So if something happens in media that like all of a sudden this emoji represents whatever, like the 6-7 thing, it's like all of a sudden somebody gets latched on to something that's in the world and that becomes a big thing. And I feel like emojis go through those cycles too. And if you're not necessarily paying attention to what's happening in the media, then you're going to miss those trends. And so then you might use a starfish emoji thinking you're like, oh, we're going to go to the beach. And someone's like, oh my gosh, I can't believe she used a starfish emoji. Does she not know that means Kim Kardashian's whatever? So I do feel like you have to kind of be aware if you're using them, not necessarily the safe ones, but those like outlier emojis that are just like hanging out in the background. Those can mean stuff and it could be bad.
So have you ever actually used an emoji without realizing the wrong subtext? And did somebody call you out on it or get offended or anything?
I steer clear of all vegetable emojis.
Yeah, you can't be messing with the veggies.
No.
No.
Or the pills.
Nope.
I don't know what all the pills mean, but I know that they mean drugs of some sort. I think I'm an old man, so I'm assuming. And I think that's part of the danger too, is that if you look at it and you go like, oh, obviously this picture means exactly what it is, then that's the way that somebody my age would read it, right?
Mhm.
Like any of the vegetables, I would read those as vegetables. I know a couple of them and I understand what they mean and I would avoid those. But if there were, outside of an eggplant, I don't, right? And so it's one of those things where you're right. Like I don't use a lot of them. I tend to use words because I'm old. I even use punctuation, and that's a whole other discussion probably about if I use a period, is that passive aggressive in a text message? I just keep hitting enter every time. Those are things I don't understand either. Speaking complete sentences, so I write in complete sentences. Yeah. Any feedback on any of that?
I feel like it's all about, I feel like if I'm texting someone who's of an older generation or something like that, and they are like using a period after every sentence, I'm not going to be like, oh my gosh, they're so mad at me. They're like scolding me or whatever. Like, I think it's giving them grace and kind of understanding where they're coming from too. But at least for me, I use kind of the emojis as like a tone indicator almost, where it'll be, I'm saying something that could be sarcastic or it could be like literal. And the emoji is what kind of like cues you into that. So I feel like I mostly stray away from some of the obscure ones. The faces, I feel like the faces is where it's at for me.
Yeah.
So if I sent you the winky face, you'd know that I was joking.
Well, the winky face then gets a little dicey sometimes because that could be flirty. It could be a flirty winky, or it could be
I don't intend that. I'm a happily married man.
I feel like that's the thing. It's like you can read between the lines that a winky in that case is just like it's a joke. Yeah.
Okay. That brings up a good point though. Like if you're interacting with a new client or in a new situation, you have to be kind of guarded because somebody might take it out of context and you're like, oh, I meant to be like, haha, this was funny, winky. And they're like, oh my gosh, she's in love with me. I should ask her out, and it's like, no, that brings up a really good point to think about, what the overall context of the relationship is that you're kind of interacting with.
Yeah. And so much of our professional communication happens on email or on Slack or on even some Discord or whatever texting, messaging app your office uses. I personally think that using emojis, using GIFs, or however you want to say that word, all of that stuff helps you to be more relatable and approachable. But I also think you have to be careful about how you use it because you don't want people to feel offended or you don't want them to feel like you're doing anything inappropriate in any way because it's confusing. So I tend to stick with anything that's on the top 2 or 3 lines on the search. But what do you guys think about that? About sort of a lot of business communication now is very informal, but it's still typed out and you could go read it and use it as evidence to get somebody fired or get them in trouble or whatever, even if they don't intend it that way. Maybe they don't like me. And so they want to get me fired. And they're like, see, look at all these emojis. Those are all offensive.
I feel like emojis would be hard to prove in court.
It's just all about your HR department and how much they will tolerate in that case. People will do sneaky things all the time. I think that's one of the reasons why I value working with both of you and with Uncompany is because we don't operate like that at all. But I've definitely been in some environments where people were out to get other people. And I could easily see where you utilize this sort of like hieroglyphic picture language as a way to create that kind of confusion if you were after it.
I think most corporate environments, the ones I operated in were like this. They were very clear that they can have access to your email and your text message if it's a phone that's owned by the company. And if there's ever a case that's brought up, and there was a couple I remember hearing about where there's client issues, then they will take that they will take all that messaging and it'll be part of what they're submitting to court. So it's always like, oh my gosh, that would be awful in so many situations because it's like, oh, you're talking about your boss and you're like, lightning bolt emoji, fire emoji, angry emoji. Yeah. It's like, well, crap. So I do feel like it's like you have to be really, really, really just cautious about communication in general when you're putting it on any kind of documented surface. I'm always like, get on the phone, make sure it's not being recorded. Walk around the block and talk to them as opposed to typing in an email. But I feel like with all the virtual Discord, text messaging, all of that kind of stuff, I think what you're saying is, Lord, is right. It's like, that's how you prove who you are. That's kind of like your person. So it's like, I I tend to use emojis sometimes to soften something, to be like, it's okay. Because I know if in person, I would be delivering it in a way that was not aggressive. And so I feel like emojis help get across the like, hey, don't forget to invoice us. I've reminded you 4 times. Smiley face, thumbs up.
Yeah, that's fair. I think, conversely, on the other side of the like, get you fired conversation, I think they can also really help put you at ease if you're meeting someone for the first time. I thought about this week, actually, because I was meeting a new client, and she had been like typing in full sentences with the period and all that. And finally, as we had like scheduled our first Zoom call, she was like, so excited to see you then, with like the blushy smiley face. And I was like, oh, you're like a person. And then like that totally helped me like match up with the vibe that she was going to bring. And then so that really did put me at ease. And I'm surprised by how much normally I wouldn't have put thought to it, but I knew we were having this conversation. And I was like, wow, just that one emoji really did make me be like, I think you're going to be chill.
Yeah.
It was interesting. She was lovely.
Oh, nice.
Like the smile worked.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So if she had put like, the devil face with the horns on it, you'd have been like,
then I would be scared.
I see. Okay.
That is a funny thing to do, to see what I wonder if people would react if you like have confusing emojis at the end of a signature, or it's just like, like starfish emoji, mountain emoji, like balloon emoji. Bye, Maari. Like it's
so excited to meet you. Well,
yeah. Like, I feel like that's a very middle school approach to emojis. That would be like the middle school approach to emojis, just like random scattershot of emojis.
Yeah. So I guess, they can sort of be anything to anyone, which is probably why we need to be judicious in the way that we use them. But I do like that example as one of a very safe way to use it. It was one emoji. You said it set you at ease, which is wonderful. It's like a really smart use for a picture as an example of how the person is feeling. And if we go back to the idea of emoji, it is, in theory, based on the word emotion, right? You're trying to convey an emotion with an image. So that's wonderful. I hope I can learn to do that or get better at that.
You should make it a goal to put an emoji in every message that you send, or every other message you send for the next, be like, give yourself a challenge, like the emotion. Yeah, the John emoji challenge.
And then politely check me if I use the wrong one for the wrong thing and tell me like, hey, so it just means this instead. Oh, okay. Whoops. Sorry.
Don't use the ghost.
Yeah. Oh, really? You don't use the ghost?
No.
Yeah.
I only use a ghost emoji when someone when a client or somebody ghosts me. I'm always like, ghost. That's my use for that one. I'm sure it means something else, but spooky.
What really gets me is, I don't know if you guys have noticed this, but it's different between like Apple and Windows. So sometimes I'll be on like Slack on my phone. And something on me is I like to really select the right one. Like if it's a face, I got to find the right face for the occasion. And I'll be like, yes, okay, this is the right emoji. And then I'll look on my like laptop, and because it changed systems, it's a completely different thing. And I'm like, oh no. So you got to watch out as well there, because they'll be different in between.
Platform.
Yeah.
Interesting. I had no idea.
Still.
Or it's like the like Slack one, when you just do like colon and like parentheses. That smile is like so dead-eyed. So I'm like, whenever it auto-corrects to that one, I'm like, why?
Yes. Oh, interesting.
Huh.
The problem you have to figure out how to solve.
I feel like I've grown to accept her, but it's okay.
Well, so what are some other common ways that people from different generations maybe misunderstand each other through emojis? Have you ever had an example, I don't know, talking to your parents maybe, where they misunderstood you, or someone younger than you? I've never had that like with my son going back and forth. He's usually pretty, he's pretty okay with anything that I type, because he knows me and he knows that I'm out of touch. And so if I use the wrong one, then he'll just like move on like it never happened, I guess. It tends to be his answer. He never tells me, and I wish he would, correct me if it was wrong. Have you ever run into that? Different generations, like, you send your grandma an emoji or whatever, and she's like, what does this mean? Or
I feel like I'm kind of in your son's boat a little bit, where it's like, I'll only correct someone if it's egregious. Like, if it's just like a little bit, I'm like, oh, that's charming. Because it's like, you guys, you don't understand, but that's okay. Sometimes I'll be like, that's an old person emoji, but it's never caused like a miscommunication in that way.
So what is an old person?
Yeah. What's the old person emojis?
I feel like now the standard laugh, the laugh with the crying, it was really trendy like 10 years ago. And now it's a little bit cringe, but it's okay.
So
I feel like
give it to a straight Lauren. It's okay. You can tell us
which one we use then? If we're laughing, which What's the
I feel like
non-trend?
the one that's rotated like 45 degrees,
Oh, yeah, he's
which
like,
is comical that it even exists. But I feel like also people use the one that just has tears. That one's like a
Mhm.
crying, like you're like crying to tears. Or just
Yeah.
like the skull. It's like if something's really funny, you can use the skull. You're dead.
Mm.
It's just so funny.
Uh,
Yeah, there's a lot of them for laughing, but
I would never have thought about that. Skull.
Yeah.
well, 'cause, yeah, I think a lot. If you're reading them as literal, you're like death, but it's like now
that
I'm
means, like,
dead.
yeah, you're dead or you're killing me. Or
You slay me.
Yeah.
okay. I'm going to start using the skull on my son and see what he does.
I know. I need you to go. I need to go
Taught you
through a
that.
list and like tell us the ones that we can't use anymore so we can transition. I feel like I can add into the older generation. I think with an older generation, even older than me, they want to know what it all means. So like if you send an emoji and it's like you might be like smiley face, thumbs up, lightning bolt, then they're like, they understand the smiley face, they understand the thumbs up, but then when they see the lightning bolt, they're like, so is everything okay? I've had a lot of people who are like, they want to know what all of them mean. Like they think they all have some kind of context. You might have just like thrown in a random one. So that's why like my kids, when they're sending emojis to my mother-in-law, my father-in-law, or my aunts, I'm like, just don't over emoji them because they're going to be like, why is something
Yeah.
what's happening? Something's exploding. It's like, no, that's just Charlie sending lightning bolts. Nothing's on fire. So I do feel like there's like, they want to have context for more of them versus now I think when someone sends me 6 emojis, I'm just ignore most of them and move on.
I think that's a difference that's even between the younger generation and mine is now they're just throwing 17 emojis in there. Whereas like, I feel like mostly my generation will have a couple relevant ones,
Mhm.
but there's even like a little bit of a generational miscommunication between people younger than me. And so they'll
It's
have their
happening.
own lingo and I'm like, oh my gosh, how is it?
It's happening even faster now, Lauren.
I know. I'm like, oh my gosh, I can't be getting old already. What?
Well, it's funny. One of the reasons we wanted to talk about this too is we've been kind of covering the topic on like how to be memorable, what's appropriate, what's not appropriate. But I'm sure, do you have any good stories about inappropriate emoji use where you're just like, that's bad?
I'm trying to think if there's been any that are really bad. None that happened to me personally.
Thank goodness.
I think one of my friends one time had an accidental eggplant emoji to like someone that they shouldn't have. And that was like,
You're like,
they were like, I'm so sorry, I didn't mean to send that. So they caught it, which is fine. But in terms of miscommunication,
this is like one that it wouldn't happen as much. Well, I guess it would. It's like when we were when we were in person in offices, and honestly, this has happened now too. Not so much a screen share because it doesn't work the same way, but when we were doing in-person office meetings and you would cast your screen to present to the room, if you weren't really cautious about turning off your messengers, then it would pop up, right? So you have to like go, there's a certain way to go to like force quit, turn it off, because even if you just quit it, it would still pop up. And I can remember a couple times being in a meeting where it's like we're presenting to a client or something like that, or to the boss, and like creatives are messaging like during the meeting, like this guy's an idiot, or this is a stupid idea. Like, things like that. And like emojis would pop up and you'd be like, close the screen, because you could see them like popping up in the background. So that happened one time. And I was like, oh my God, I'm glad that wasn't me.
oh, that's chilling.
But I studied up hard on how to force quit out of Messenger. Because it was just it's on this, whatever, 10 foot by 10 foot screen. You're like, ring. And it's like fire emoji, devil, evil, like whatever what it was. But it was something that was just like, oh, probably didn't want to put that up. Right.
Oh, that's so chilling.
It was so awkward. So awkward. And they closed it really quickly, but it was like just enough to where like half the room was like, oh, they're talking about this client or whatever it was. But yeah, I was like, I need to learn how to close out my messenger. And so now it's nice as you're on screen share, like nobody can see unless you happen to be casting, which that's also happened before. I've been in situations where they're casting and it's not emoji related, but it's like embarrassing information, popping up. It's like, oh, I can see your emails. I can also see like your wife's texting you. You need to go get stamps. So it's like in the virtual communication world, you have to be really cautious as to like, it can be going back and forth between you and a friend. And that's funny, but it's like, if you are living in the world where you're casting screens or sharing information, it's like that can get out to everybody. And they might not have the context of like, oh, we always like throw eggplant emojis, mountain emojis at each other. And it's hilarious. They might be like, something's going on with this.
That's also why I always only share one tab at a time whenever I'm sharing stuff. Because I'm always paranoid between all the different messaging apps that could pop up on my phone or through whatever. And it's not even about like something inappropriate like that, which is really not great. But I mean, it's even just the
It's not.
disturbing the presentation in general and distracting it at all, right? But yeah, but I don't think I've ever had an instance. And if I did not, like, no one said anything to me. But I do live in like
Mhm.
constant paranoia and fear that I'm going to offend someone.
Oh,
Yeah. I mean, it's not just about emojis or any of that. It's just, I
Yeah.
always feel like I'm going to offend people because I just don't. The older you get, the more out of touch you feel. And you start to get to this place where I'm like, I turned 49 in a week. And yeah, I'm starting to really, really feel that I don't understand the new language or the new emojis or the new sort of anything, that the music is not my music anymore, all of that kind of stuff. You start to like realize and recognize that popular culture has moved on from your generation. And when that happens, you do sort of start to go like, I mean, I don't want to be, I'm not going to try to be cool, but I also don't want to be uncool, if that makes sense. I don't want people
Mhm.
standoffish because I'm just ignorant of what's going on in popular culture.
You should add to, you know how like people you started emailing from your phone, and people add those little messages like, sent from my phone, please excuse all typos, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
And they have those in their emails. Like when you mess up, you should add that in on your text. It's like, please excuse emoji usage. I am, might not be up on the popular culture, but I'm not trying to offend. I'm being very literal.
Yeah. I'm an idiot. I just found online too, there is a website called Emojipedia. And it's
Ooh.
supposed to be the home of emoji meanings. But I'm pretty sure if you go there and look at it, most of them are not the way that they're used. So for instance, I found the skull. Skull means like dead or death or something bad is happening to you. Whereas the way that it's used apparently is like, that's insanely funny.
Yeah.
So even in the case of the Emojipedia, which is some academics version of what these things mean, it's still probably very out of touch. I
I mean,
I
like
don't
how
know if
often could that possibly be updated, right? If it's
right.
changing every year, I doubt they're doing like all 1,000 emojis.
Right,
Yeah.
exactly. So you can't really rely on that in the same way that like Urban Dictionary used to be sort of helpful, but then also, I mean, that popped up, when I was younger. And so I would go through there and read things and think, that one's wrong. That one's wrong. That's not what that means. That's not what that means. This is the way we use this over here. And so I feel like this website. So just for those of you who are trying to find the meanings of things, I'm not sure how helpful things online will be because it's out there.
Yeah. Well, I do feel like language is so fluid. I mean, if you consider emojis part of language, which I think it is, then it's like just like language changes and all the trending phrases and things come and go. And sometimes they come back and sometimes they never come back. And sometimes there's new ones. Like obviously there's a bunch of new ones now. It's like emojis and symbols and those kind of things obviously will change their meaning pretty frequently. And each generation is going to have their version of what they know that to be. And we always talk about this where it's like, oh, I'm sure like our parents' generation are like, those kids are never going to amount to anything with talking about us. And now we're like, those kids, I don't know if they're going to ever get out of the house and get off the couch and, remember to take their lunch boxes to school, which my son forgot today. So I feel like it's like it happens every single generation. It's like we have our language set of like, this is what this means. And then the next generation is like, no, this is what this means. And then it's like, no, this is what this means. And that's just like part of the fun of language, I guess.
Yeah.
It is. Wherever you grow up in that world, you still use that same language that you used when you were probably in your teens and early 20s. And, I still say rad and awesome because I grew up in the 80s. If somebody has a problem with me saying rad, I'm sorry. Like the movie is amazing and I love it. I love using the word and it's fun.
It's a good word.
It's a great word. It's rad. Yeah. I don't use radical anymore, but I do use rad. I feel like there's a difference there somehow. But anyway. All right. So let's move on to the lightning round a little bit. So what is your favorite criminally underutilized emoji?
Ooh.
Do you have one?
I think mine would be, there's like a dancing guy. He's wearing purple. He's like striking a pose. And he just is whimsical to me. So if I'm feeling joyous, I'll do that one or the one that has like the shooting star. Those are mine that are like, they can be kind of used for any situation. If I'm feeling good, I'm feeling whimsical, I'm striking a pose.
Shooting
I like that.
Okay. Yeah.
I like the melty face emoji. That's my favorite one. I use that a lot. I always kind of feel like I'm half melting into the ground. So I'm always like melty face emoji. That's my emoji for like, I'm not sure what emotion we're feeling right now. Like, oh, are we frustrated? Are we happy? Are we tired? Melty face emoji.
I utilize the sunglasses a lot. To me, that means cool. I assume that that's what it means. But
You got it. You're in.
yeah,
You got it.
but I don't see a lot of other people use that. None of my other friends message me with that one. So I don't know if it's underutilized or not, but it's one of my favorite ones because it goes back to being a child of the 80s and everything's cool and rad and awesome. Yeah.
I like that you can also create your own stickers now with Apple. So I have like a lot. We take a picture of my dog and like make him a sticker. And so I like to mix in my own custom, I guess they're not really emojis because they're not like emojis, but my own custom stickers into situations too.
Yeah.
That's fun.
Yeah, that is
those are
fun. It's really funny when the AI tries to make me look like an emoji. I think that's hilarious because it never actually looks like me at all. But I also look like just a really normal dude with a beard and glasses. So, but I always feel like it's really off. But it is fun to play with it. And for some people, it fits them. It nails them. It's really interesting. I don't know.
That's another thing. I feel like oh my gosh, what are they called? Is it like the Memoji or something? What's the one?
The Bitmojis.
The Bitmoji. Like, that's another thing where I'm like, my mom always uses them. And I'm like, that's really charming. Because I don't know anyone else who uses them. But she'll always be like, have a great day with like her little like guy. That's so cute.
Yeah. Yeah. I think my kids were playing with that for a while, especially like Cora, because she was, curating her style and her hair and it was like a dress up thing. And then it kind of, I don't know if it came off of her phone or kind of trended out. And I haven't seen her use it in a while, but I'll still see her once in a while pop up where it's like palm trees, jazz hands, have a great day. And I'm like, I love that.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. Next one. How do you think you could make a new emoji catch on, even if that's just within your own like friend group?
Oh,
that's a tough one.
I feel like if you just do anything enough, it'll catch, especially in a small group. Maybe not in the wider culture.
Yeah, we should start a campaign. We should have it next year. We should pick out an emoji and be like, we're going to make, surfboard guy the emoji of the year or something.
That would be fun.
Yeah. We should try the octopus then.
Oh yeah. Sometimes you guys have the octopus in the email. I saw one earlier and I was like, okay, that's cute. That's the one emoji promise. One emoji just right.
Right. Yeah. And it's on brand for Uncompany. So it works.
There you go. Checking every box.
Yeah.
Good job, Uncompany.
Awesome. What does the upside down smiley face mean to you?
Oh, that's complicated. For me, I'm like, I have to go look at it. I feel like it's like unsure / like, not quite unsure. For me, it's like, this might as well happen. Like, it's right, you have a good attitude, but something bad is happening.
It's going off the rails a little bit.
Yeah. That's what I would say.
Yeah.
What would you guys think that mean if you saw it?
Almost that.
I use that one a bit too. Yeah.
Yeah. I would think almost like less that things are going off the rails, but more that it's not what I intended or I'm confused. Like it doesn't make sense to me. Like, my head's upside down. It doesn't make sense.
I feel like I use that the same way I use melty face emoji. How fun would that be to create all those like emojis?
There's a gazillion of them. I've been looking at them on my phone and I never use any of these. There's hundreds of them. And I never get past maybe the first 50 or 60.
Yeah.
To see any of these other ones, especially like the ones where there's like people and they're dressed in different things, like there's a chef and there's a farmer person and a detective and a
it's pretty specific.
Person. Yeah, like I never get into any of that stuff.
Until now.
Until now.
Fencing emoji coming soon.
Well, I'm just going to start using the tennis racket emoji for everything because that makes sense. That fits.
Yeah, that can be your icon.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah, it should be. There's a tennis racket. There's a tennis ball. Though should probably stay away from balls, but maybe just the tennis racket itself. If there's a guitar emoji, something like that.
I think you're safe.
Exactly. All right. So how do you feel about the literal quote unquote emoji use? As in, I'm OOO at the beach plus the wave emoji. Like, does that?
I like that.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah.
Okay.
I totally use it.
I think a lot of emojis are just that way. Where it's like, I'm changing a light bulb emoji or something. I have an idea, light bulb emoji. So there's kind of both sides, I feel like. But there's nothing wrong with using them literally.
Yeah, the light bulb is, that's been the symbol for an idea for as long as I can remember.
Yeah.
Well, and now it's like it'll like change your text. Like I'll start to type out 100%. It's like 100% emoji jumps into my text messaging. I'm like, I didn't put that in there.
I
So
don't want
sometimes
that.
it'll like change. Like I was going to type out light bulb, and then light bulb emoji popped in automatically. So it started to do that too, which feels weird because then it's like people think I'm typing a sentence. I might be like, and I'm changing a light bulb today, blah blah blah, and then light bulb emojis in the middle of my sentence, and everyone's like, that's weird, Maari.
That's too far
It's
for
not
me.
me.
It's like I don't want them in the middle of my like. But that's actually hieroglyphics. Like it's like
Yeah,
light bulb is wrench. Like I don't need
Yeah.
that.
exactly.
I've never used the 100% one. I feel like that one I'm too out of touch for some reason.
No, I think you're cool enough to use 100%. You can use it, Jen.
I mean, I would never use, what was the phrase a couple of years ago? Keep it 100. Like, I don't.
Keep it
That's
100.
yeah. See that feels uncomfortable for me. I know where it comes from, but it just doesn't feel like it's my generation.
Can't not use it.
Well, and if I use anything like that, and my son's around, he will just look at me and give me the side eye. Like,
That's funny.
You know?
That's the test right there. I feel like, oh no.
so I stay away from if he gives me the side eye ever, then I'm like, okay, that was
Too
not
far.
bad. Moving on. I cannot use, other words. Like I can't use sus. I can't use any of those, words either. He gives me the side eye. I'm done. That's it.
Yep.
Okay.
Instant
Stay in your lane, old man. I got it.
that's funny.
Yeah. All right. Well, this has been highly entertaining and a lot of fun to sort of take a break from all this more serious topics that we cover on occasion, just to chat about something that's kind of a good time. And it came into our discussion one day when we were just chatting about, how do we communicate? What are ways that we communicate? And, so thank you so much, Lauren, for coming on today and being our resident Gen Zer. Yes.
Yay. Yes,
Yeah.
thank you for having me.
Yeah. And we will have you back as we need more of your wisdom and knowledge and experience to keep us in touch and to make sure that we don't screw up and do something really, really horrifying or terrible.
If you have an emoji emergency, I'll be there.
All right.
Oh yes.
Cool. Yeah. And now that we've got it all cleared up, if I use one inappropriately, just tell me and I will try to use them more and we'll see what happens. We'll see how this goes. Yeah.
Goals.
Yeah. Well, that's all for today. Thanks so much for tuning in and quitting with us today. If you are new to the podcast, you can visit us at commandqpodcast.com. That's command, all one word, COMMAND, the letter Q, podcast.com, to learn more about our podcast and how to join our proud community of quitters. You can also check out our full episode library on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts. Until next time, I'm John.
And I'm Maari.
And we're reminding you that quitters can win and winners can quit. This podcast is for informational purposes only and does not constitute medical, legal, or financial advice. The views, thoughts, and opinions expressed are the guest's own and do not necessarily represent the views, thoughts, and opinions of Command Q or Uncompany.